It now smells like a humid day inside Joy Behar's moo-moo. The motives stink worse than Joy Behar's jog bra. I mean, assuming she jogs. Oh, wait, there she is. She has a point. Maybe I am obsessed, but some people are obsessed with Bigfoot, and they don't get to see him on TV every afternoon. And if they did, could they tell the two apart? I don't know. But,
and by the way, out there, that hat that you keep wearing, that red hat that says "Make America Great Again," that tells people that you go along with this. So you might as well just put a swastika on the hat.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Because we see it anyway.
I'm not going to defend Donald Trump ever, but I would never say that we should put the swastika on the cap, because I think you can hate Donald Trump. You can't hate everybody who likes him. It's half the country. I don't want to live in that country. I don't want to live in the country where I hate half the country, and I don't hate half the country.
How dare you disagree?
Joy Behar didn't just stumble into controversy, she cannonballed into it. Armed with a mic and a hot take. Picture this, to wildly different figures in American media. Bill Maher and Greg Gutfeld, both targeting the same person without ever coordinating. No backroom deal. No secret alliance, just distinct voices reaching one shared conclusion. Joy Behar is now the reigning monarch of political absurdity. Not because she's corrupt, but because she embodies the decline of intelligent daytime discourse. Maher plays the exasperated uncle at Thanksgiving sipping wine, calling out nonsense with weary logic. Gutfeld, he's the class clown in the back, flinging jokes and zingers that somehow hit harder than the panel's scripted dialogue. They're opposites in style, yet they both delivered a merciless takedown. Just last week, Behar accused Elon Musk of supporting apartheid and then practically pleaded with him not to sue. Musk's legal team hasn't responded, possibly because they're still figuring out if barnyard defamation laws apply to cows. Applause, laughter, harsh, maybe, but that's where we are. So what got Joy roasted this time? Nothing new, just her usual cocktail of exaggerated opinions, overreactions, and self-appointed moral authority. But this time, Maher and Gutfeld weren't having it. Maher used dry sarcasm. Gutfeld went full-on roast mode. Suddenly, Joy wasn't moderating a discussion, she was the main attraction at a roast. By the way, don't forget to like and subscribe, it helps us keep bringing you stories like this.
Joy Behar accused Elon Musk of being pro-apartheid, but then begged him afterwards not to sue. Musk lawyers have yet to comment because they're still checking to see if it's legal to sue a cow.
Shots fired.
It's a legal question. I don't know why it's so upsetting. I don't make the rules in this country.
Bill Maher didn't need to name names for viewers to know exactly who he meant. He went after the kind of figure Joy Behar has become. Someone who substitutes real conversation with melodrama and mistakes clapping from the audience as validation. Maher isn't loud or over the top, he speaks like a man who's been stuck explaining basic logic to a room full of people who think TikTok clips count as journalism. His frustration that people like Joy have turned political conversation into a cheap stage play. His critique was laser-focused. He painted a picture of shows where facts are ignored, and hosts behave more like actors from a community theater than critical thinkers. He took aim at the phony moral superiority, the outraged theater, and the need to always be right no matter how wrong you actually are.
View?
It's called The View. It's not called The Facts.
Yeah, but
Isn't
it interesting that it's called, I mean, I don't think they meant this when Barbara Walters invented it a long time ago, but it's The View.
Well,
that's the problem in America.
But
there is one view,
right, and
one
that's clearly
true opinion, and everybody else can go sit in the corner.
That's correct. I think that's not.
And that critique fit Joy Behar like a custom-made blazer. She doesn't debate, she performs. Maher didn't have to say her name. The sarcasm cut through the airwaves and practically echoed off the set of The View. What made the jab sting even more? Maher isn't from the other side of the aisle, he's her ideological neighbor. That's what made the criticism land so hard. It wasn't a left versus right fight. It was someone from her own camp finally saying, this is too much. It wasn't just a call out, it was a wake-up. Meanwhile, Greg Gutfeld skipped the scalpel and brought a jackhammer. If Maher's critique was surgical, Gutfeld's was a comedy brawl. He didn't tiptoe, he charged in, cracking jokes with zero restraint. Joy, to him, isn't a punish, she's a punchline waiting to happen. Her outrage, attention-seeking, and theatrical delivery were all fair game. Some of it got personal, sure, but it was aimed to sting. He described her as the valedictorian of interrupting people, and someone who thinks yelling louder makes her smarter.
that Gutfeld talks about you all the time.
Who is he? Well, really, who is he?
I don't watch the show.
He has a show.
I don't watch the
never
show.
heard of him.
Yeah.
I guess he's just obsessed with me.
No. Next, Joy's gonna say she's never heard of carbs. Seriously, her denial of knowing me is as believable as her red hair. But obsession? I mean, come on, Joy. Where would you even get that idea? Like Joy Behar's face, it's looking worse and worse by the day. More full of crap than Joy Behar after a night of scotch and Taco Bell. Her being named Joy is like me being named ugly. Joy wasn't there on the show. Apparently Mondays are her days off when she feeds in the...
Depending on your sense of humor, Gutfeld's roast was either savage or strangely cathartic. The reason it landed, he wasn't exaggerating. Joy's delivery has become so smug and exaggerated that her critics don't even need to distort her. Words, they just repeat them. So, when Gutfeld compared her to a toddler banging on a piano loud, chaotic, and technically still a performance, it didn't feel like a joke. It felt like the most honest description of The View in recent memory. But what really blew the situation up wasn't the critiques themselves, it was that Maher and Gutfeld both arrived at the same conclusion without comparing notes. No joint effort, no shared stage, just two men from entirely different media worlds coming to the same realization. Joy Behar has become a symbol of everything wrong with political commentary. Let that sink in. When do people who can't agree on breakfast both say you're the problem? That's not coincidence, it's a warning sign. And the kicker, Joy wasn't even in the room for some of it. She didn't have to be. Her track record, her tone, her endless interruptions, they were enough to earn a roast all on their own. This wasn't just about one person, it became a cultural moment. Like two strangers walking out of the same terrible movie and saying, that was a disaster.
I want them to pay attention to words like vermin and poisoning the blood and the Third Reich. That's all. That's really what I'm asking.
They see Trump as a comedian. They see him as a clown who says crazy things.
They saw Hitler like that.
Right, okay, but that doesn't mean, you can hate Trump. You can't hate everybody who likes him. It is half the...
Only this movie wasn't make-believe. It was Joy Behar live and unfiltered. And the reviews, brutal. The moment that really ignited the firestorm. Joy compared wearing a MAGA hat to donning a swastika. Yep, she actually said that. It wasn't a joke, and it wasn't a slip. She meant it. That's when Bill Maher, lifelong liberal, professional Trump critic, finally hit the brakes. He didn't praise Trump. He didn't excuse the hat. He simply said, you can hate the guy without hating every single person who voted for him. When you start branding half the country as Nazis, you're not making a point, you're playing with fire. Maher put it plainly, I don't want to live in a country where I hate half the people. And it landed, because that's exactly what shows like The View have been feeding into the dangerous idea that disagreement equals evil.
Getting hit with one of the worst hurricanes that will ever see.
But she should know, does anyone remember that time when she got carried away by Hurricane Sandy? Take a look. Thank you.
And Joy Behar, with her melodramatic tone and I speak for all good people attitude, has been leading that charge for years. That MAGA hat comment wasn't just offensive, it was absurd. It revealed that Joy isn't interested in connection or discussion. Her mission is provocation and moral posturing. When Maher called her out, it wasn't political, it was personal. Like someone finally saying what everyone else was too polite to admit. For over 2 decades, Joy has taken every topic from celebrity scandal to international crisis and turned it into her personal soapbox TED Talk. Whether anyone asked or not, she delivers each line like she's accepting an Oscar or launching a cult. Just last week, she accused Elon Musk of promoting authoritarianism, and in the same breath begged not to get sued. She lobs accusations like darts in a blackout, hoping something sticks. And when it doesn't, she chuckles and moves on, as if no one noticed.
And finally, new rule, stop saying that Whoopi Goldberg getting yanked from The View right after she attacked me on The View is karma. There's no such thing as karma, sorry. Sorry, but life is random. The only word to describe it when a big game hunter gets trampled by an elephant and then eaten by lions is hilarious.
Gutfeld didn't waste time highlighting how absurd this routine has become. He quipped that Musk's lawyers were still researching whether you can legally sue a cow. Cruel? Sure. But sharp. Because Joy doesn't argue with evidence, she argues with emotion. And when challenged, she digs in deeper. She's like a retired theater teacher who discovered social media and decided the world needed a one-woman show daily. Every episode becomes an overacted monologue where facts are optional and feelings reign supreme. That's why she's such a perfect target, not because she's unique in her behavior, but because she's perfected the worst version of it. And when both Maher and Gutfeld point at her as the face of that failure, you know it's not a coincidence. It's a pattern, one that finally and publicly got called out.
Here's Joy Behar talking about refusing to share a kidney.
I could be friends with a Trump supporter. I won't give them a kidney, but I could be friends with them.
Hey, Joy, it's a kidney, not a pizza. Of course, she's kidding at first, but then she goes on to explain the moral foundation for her resentment, and it's the same one that drives all deadly ideologies.
Then came the most surreal moment. Joy Behar claimed on air she didn't even know who Greg Gutfeld was, brushing him off like a nobody. Who is he? I don't watch that show, she shrugged. Maybe that would fly if Gutfeld hadn't been roasting her weekly. Naturally, Gutfeld didn't let it slide. He fired back with a perfectly brutal clapback.
If The View is your favorite show, you might be a little slow. Yes, it's time for
Our View on The View.
very serious music. They love to play the race card because logic for them is...
Next, she'll say she's never heard of carbs, Gutfeld quipped, tearing into her denial like an old View script. He called it as fake as her hair and as full of it as Joy after a late-night Taco Bell run. The point wasn't just comedy, it was strategy. Joy wasn't just pretending not to know Gutfeld. She was trying to pretend he didn't matter. But when you act like someone beneath you while clearly rattled, it only exposes how deep the hit landed. Joy's whole image is built on being the untouchable wise woman of the panel. But the jokes weren't bouncing off this time, they were sinking in. And then Bill Maher entered with a deeper hit. Maher didn't go for cheap shots. He aimed straight at the culture Joy represents, where clapping replaces thinking and loud equals correct. He ripped into the emotional theater of The View, comparing it to a biology class with Joy as the frog being dissected, layers peeled back, to reveal a hollow shell of virtue signaling and smug superiority. Without even naming her, he painted a dead-on picture of Joy Behar. Maher's takedown wasn't about partisanship, it was about a media ecosystem that treats disagreement like betrayal and emotion like evidence. Meanwhile, Gutfeld came in with a different flavor, louder, meaner, but just as effective. Where Maher dismantled the ideology, Gutfeld targeted the personality. He mocked Joy's debate style as elitist yelling, her monologues as melodrama, and her smugness as pure comedy. His comparison, Joy's commentary is like a toddler banging on a piano, technically still sound, but only if you squint and pretend. And honestly, The View has never felt more like noise. What really hit was Gutfeld mocking her for thinking she mattered, that just being on daytime TV put her above criticism. That arrogance, that's what made the roast sting. And it got worse. He pulled out one of the most savage moments, Hurricane Sandy. Gutfeld reminded viewers of the time Joy somehow turned storm coverage into a personal spotlight moment. She knows hurricanes, she once got swept up by one. The audience roared. The point wasn't just the joke, it was how Joy always finds a way to center herself in every headline. No matter how unrelated. Where Maher hit the message, Gutfeld torched the messenger. He framed Joy as someone who confuses volume with value and outrage with intelligence. To him, she's not a threat, she's a blooper reel of political journalism, known more for her on-air tantrums than any profound insight. What made it all sting harder? Maher and Gutfeld didn't plan this, but still landed the same hit from opposite angles. Maher brought the tired professor vibe, Gutfeld the class clown with a knife. Together, they revealed the same truth. Joy Behar isn't taken seriously anymore. She's become a character, a meme, the parody of real discourse. She didn't even need to respond. Her silence said it all. Because this wasn't personal, it was symbolic. A takedown of the media performance culture she helped create. Then came the clip that sealed the deal. Joy saying she wouldn't donate a kidney to a Trump-supporting friend, not a stranger, a friend. She laughed, doubled down, and explained it like some moral high ground. But all it did was expose her tribalism. Gutfeld cracked. It's a kidney, Joy, not a pizza. But it was more than a punchline, it was the core issue. This wasn't about politics anymore. It was about purity test. Agree or be damned. Maher has warned of this descent into moral warfare before, and Joy's comment proved him right. Her resentment isn't political, it's personal. And that's the real danger. By now, Joy wasn't just being mocked, she was being diagnosed. Maher painted her as the result of progressive overkill, someone who mistakes applause for intelligence. Gutfeld called her a human fire alarm, loud, constant, and not actually helping. Together, without collaborating, Maher and Gutfeld demolished the myth of Joy Behar as a thought leader. Not because of her politics, but because she embodies a system that confuses volume with value and performance with insight. In the end, Joy became more than a roast victim, she became a symbol of a media culture where talking loud replaces thinking hard. A character so wrapped in her own script, she doesn't realize the audience has stopped clapping. And that's why this roast wasn't just funny, it was devastating. Because Joy Behar wasn't just critiqued, she was exposed.
Talk about Whoopi Goldberg because I got so many texts this week because she attacked me the week before.
Sure.
So she was, everybody was like, oh, Bill, I get you're enjoying the karma. First of all, I'm going to talk about this at the end of my show next week, teaser. But there is no fucking thing as karma, okay? Get over that. Whoopi attacks me on a regular basis. She says stupid shit on a regular basis. They just happen to coincide. But